Jeff Grubb.
Jan Ochoa. What is this?
How do you feel about Fire Emblem?
I feel very warm and fuzzy about Fire Emblem. I was always an Advance Wars boy, and I was aware that Fire Emblem was the sister series, and then Fire Emblem Awakening came out for the Nintendo 3DS, and boy, that was a good game. And I've been really into the series ever since. For me, it's never quite reached those heights again because I like marrying off all these other people, and that was a lot of fun. And they had offspring from the future that you could come fight with. But I still have really enjoyed things like Three Houses.
Three Houses, I think, it might be my favorite Fire Emblem game, primarily because of all the people, the hoodlums. Which house did you pick?
I went with the Blue Lions because everyone else was picking all the other cool people. So I'm like, I'm gonna go with this stick in the mud, Dimitri.
And he did have a sick eye patch, though. Yes,
he did. Yes, by halfway through, you're like, oh man, this might have been the right path. This might be the most interesting character. So yeah. I
wound up choosing the Golden Deer, and this is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, which is kind of I don't want to say sequel. What's like what is something adjacent to a sequel? Like a pre-sequel?
Right.
A pre-sequel?
Yeah, pre-sequel. Yeah, hey, that according to Randy Pitchford, it's called a pre-sequel. But a side story, Gaiden.
You know what? A Gaiden. That's probably a good shout for this. So this is Shez, the character or the protagonist character for Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. I'm probably going to get the name of the game wrong several times throughout this quick look. But this is in the same vein as the Fire Emblem Warriors, underline in bold Warriors several times, because this is a musou.
It's looking like a musou already, even before we have the hordes of enemies on the screen.
Yeah.
Although it also still looks like a Fire Emblem game where you run around with your character and looks like there's maybe like people to talk with and stuff. So
yeah.
Hey, it's serving two masters there. I think I've never been into these musou games too much, but it seems like it could probably pull off like that Fire Emblem vibe enough for fans, right?
And I hate that it's doing that actually, because other than checking out like a Dynasty Warriors probably on like the PS2, I don't think I've ever spent any significant time with a Warriors game. In fact, like the last Fire Emblem Warriors game looked like kind of abysmal to me, but maybe because I didn't connect with the story. But this time around, I think because they're using the Three Houses characters and everything, you do the same rigmarole of picking which house at the beginning. I stuck with the Golden Deer because that's what I picked in the main game.
Yeah, of course.
And then it's just the same group of characters I've really grown an attachment to. Like, oh, good old Ignatz. You were useless at first, but then you gained confidence.
You got those MC Hammer pants. You know how to do them.
Yeah, look at those. He probably has big shins. from all the squats he's doing.
Right, absolutely.
But this is our base camp, so we can fast travel here, and as you see up there, we have like 3 little, I don't want to say strength points, but action points, similar to how you would spend a day in Fire Emblem, where you could either train, spend time with one of your party members or whatever. But this is about 2 hours into the game. This is just right out of the prologue. I rolled back to a previous save so we could just get a taste for what the beginning of the game is like.
Can I ask the question that I think I probably should ask first here? What is performance like, and how are you feeling about the visuals and resolutions and all that?
The performance so far has been okay. We'll see soon that we'll see like the hundreds of enemies on screen, but because of the Switch, that 100 is more like dozens of enemies on screen. Frame rate has been pretty solid so far. I haven't double checked if this is just running at 720, but like even here on these little animations of our base here, the flag is not moving the smoothest.
Right, yeah. Yeah, a lot of times, like especially on menus for some reason, the Switch can have issues, and like they're just like, let's just run everything at 12 frames per second on here.
Yeah, it's odd. So this is our world map here. This is how side missions will be doled out. If you're interested in this game, there is a demo. Maybe your interest will wane.
Yeah, that is what I need to do. Now, does my stuff carry over from the demo?
I believe so. I believe it should. But man, the prologue for this game is about like an hour and a half until you get to the actual meat of it. And even here in this early save, we haven't seen the base building side of it or the social aspect. Similar to Fire Emblem 3 Houses, there's a social aspect with all of your party members. It isn't as involved as it was in 3 Houses, where there's a romantic option. You can go horseback riding with some people, and that's pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Does it do like the tea time and all that stuff as well?
No tea time.
No
unfortunately,
tea time.
but there is
reserved
like
for the real deal stuff. I get it.
There are the same type of like weird friendship quizzes that you're taking of like having to pick the right response and everything, but nothing as fancy as tea time, because this is war, Jeff. We're in the middle of war.
That's right. This is serious time. This isn't school. School's out. Now it's time for war.
Exactly. School's out. So here we can, before we run out to the mission, we can change placement of characters. Since there are so many different units here, we could swap them out for any of the other members we have in reserve here. Story-wise, some characters may not be available due to certain conditions and stuff. Gosh, and there's a lot of stuff. I can't even imagine trying to play this in 2-player, to be honest. You'll see soon how it looks just playing single player. I have it set to normal and casual. There's 2 difficulty types. I believe the casual denotes whether or not permadeath is on for your units.
Right.
I chose to not go with that because I like all these kids a bunch. There is an auto battle feature that I've yet to use, but I think it's kind of hilarious because so far the combat hasn't really been keeping me hooked to the game. It's mostly been the story, and I hate them for that. I hate that they're getting me to play this game for the story.
Yeah, they're leveraging your love to really get you in. I mean, okay, so the story, like, is it? I mean, we said it's a side story, but is it like rewriting history for many of these characters, or is it like, oh, this could exist in the same universe?
It is all in the same universe, I want to say. So Shez here, this isn't spoilers because this happens in the very first prologue chapter, but you are a mercenary that winds up joining the academy. I forget what it's actually called. And then you wind up choosing house, and you initially build relationships with said house. And then there's a little bit of a time jump, which seems to be in line with the mainline story. You do, in that first prologue chapter, meet Byleth, or whoever you wind up naming the protagonist from 3 Houses, and some shenanigans ensue. But just like Byleth, Shez here is semi-possessed by a spirit that kind of talks to them in their own head. Let's just get to the war.
Let's earn our
Let's do it. Let's see this. Yeah, I want to see some 3 hopes kill some people.
Look at this. Look at these barbarians. We're just beating the crap out of them.
It's fun. Like that would make a great gift. Just like you're knocking 100 people against the wall. Like, that's fun.
Yeah. This is just explaining permadeath. If you chose to enable that. Okay. So I'm not super familiar with the Dynasty Warriors games or any of the Warriors games. So a lot of this stuff may be rehashed from other games, but there is a orders menu where you can specifically tell your units to, like, yo, you go here, you do this.
Right.
So Hilda will have,
Let's do this.
you know what, as the player character, we're pretty sturdy on our own. So we'll have Claude sees this area, and then Ignatz and Hilda will stick with Claude. And then our general objective here is to seize the stronghold. So that is these red glowing bits here. In between, there will be enemy base camps, these little units that look like a staff here to take control of as well. And yeah, let's just let it all play out.
Yeah, let's take a look here. So I mean, this is very reminiscent of Hyrule Warriors and the Warriors games I have played. But I mean, I think that you're right to like come in and be like, okay, I'm a Fire Emblem guy. You know, maybe I don't know everything about musou games, but I think that's the case with a lot of these games. There are people who play every musou game.
Yes.
But there's a reason that they keep doing these offshoots based on their brands, because it's like, this is going to be the one for, you know, the Fire Emblem freaks out there. They could show up for this, and they won't be too worried if this is a very familiar sort of environment and very familiar combat and the way you engage with the map or whatever. They'll just be like, oh, this is a new way to engage with Fire Emblem stuff.
Yes.
And on that level, when you're in combat, when you're in the mechanics, I know you said that this wasn't super engaging to you yet, but are you still getting enough Fire Emblem flavor now while you're doing these sword swipes and stuff to sort of feel like, okay, this is a Fire Emblem adventure for Jan?
Less so when it comes to the actual button mashing aspect. When it comes to the ordering units around, there still is that rock, paper, scissors. This unit is more effective against others. So that element of strategy still pops in. And the neat thing is, which I think is actually impressive on the Switch, but maybe my standards have been lowered because of the Switch. If I just hit up and down on the D-pad, we can switch to any of our existing party members, which winds up saving a lot of time because you can order someone to go somewhere else, and while they're traveling to a different zone, like we can command our player character to attack this stronghold here. With our other characters, we can kind of divide and conquer here. So the combat, real quick, it's Y and X for a light and heavy attack. Depending on the class, you can wind up charging. If I hold R here, okay, I guess we got a side mission going on. Just defeat 300 enemies, easy peasy.
All right then. You were gonna do that anyhow.
We were probably gonna do that. You'll have special attacks that are loaded there, that are on a small recharge. As you hold R there, you can activate those bad boys. You know, let's be more efficient with our time here. You know what, Claude, you go attack that.
Let's see how this goes.
There will be more notable enemies that are a little kind of act as generals. Mini bosses, yeah. That will take lay of the land. Occasionally, we'll probably see it. There will be reinforcements. A bunch of different side missions will pop up as we're going along.
So you're going in here. It looks like your kitchen has a health bar, but it looks like it's pretty high, which means, you know, well done. That's gonna add a lot of resale value to your house.
Oh yeah.
But that is like, okay, the enemies are coming in, and if you were to not pay attention along to your kitchen, it would lose its health, and like you would be part of like one of the objectives that could cause you to lose this round or whatever. Is that how it's working?
Yes. So if you leave an area undefended, or you're not actively seizing encampments, and not getting rid of these like named bosses or like these mini bosses with life bars, your territories can quickly run away from you. In fact, like certain missions, you have to regularly go back and forth to take care of them. Because if not, then you'll wind up losing out on territories, and sometimes you may even fail the mission. Hey, Jeff, how do you feel if we just attack every single enemy here all at once?
I would like that very much.
Let's do it.
I hate all these guys. My homies hate all these enemies.
We just did,
That's very
I think,
fun.
117,000 worth of damage.
Yeah, it's a big number.
It's
There were so many
big
digits, I
number.
wasn't sure if it was like a million or 100. Yeah, that's okay. That's fun. I mean, this is a video game, right? This
It's
is
a
what they're
video
doing here.
game.
They're making a video
Yeah.
game where it's just like, hey, you're gonna press some buttons and some stuff's gonna happen on screen. Are you cool with that? And you know, if you are, this game is available now in stores. Like it's like that
Totally.
simple at a certain point.
100%.
I almost respect that. Now,
Yeah, let's do this.
I'll ask you that. I've heard, like, there was a rumor, I never believed it, but there was a rumor that instead of this game, we were going to get a Mario musou. Yeah, I know, right? So, do you think, okay, so I think its formula is fine for what it is. I don't hate musou games or anything like that. But I think adding some, like, really weird stuff, like doing a weird spinoff, at this point, I would probably be a better use of this team's time even than like doing another Fire Emblem one. Not that like I want to take a Fire Emblem game away from fans, but just like if I had to pick or choose, I would probably pick Mario. Does that sound right to you? Like, not probably pick Mario. I would pick something weird like Mario, I guess was what I mean to say. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think I would be into something weird with the Musou Warriors formula. Hey, we defeated 300 enemies.
There you go.
Let's attack everyone again. That's fun.
Man. Oh my God, this is so. I love it when the animations all line up and it just looks like they're in a Bollywood movie because there's like 1,000 of them and they're all doing this great choreography.
Oh my God, I'm hesitant to recommend this game because I don't think it plays really well, or that the combat, as of still fairly early in, that it's that captivating, but
you have the other characters there, like, would you if you were to switch one, would it be like, oh, this is a breath of fresh air? Oh, I'm doing something different now? Or is it just kind of like, I'm still just smashing the attack button?
For me personally, it still feels, there's not a lot of differentiation, even though...
I think I feel the same.
Even though, like, oh, I'm a different type of unit, I still do not feel like it's super duper different.
Ooh, perfect dodger. I would say you're the artful dodger.
Yes, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, no problem.
Like, because this archer class kind of controls awkwardly. Like, we can lock on and everything, but everything it doesn't really feel satisfying because I'm still mashing on buttons to get these bows off. So when you wear down a named enemy, or at least one with a life bar, you're breaking down their shield, and then you can do a glory kill adjacent type of thing, like a critical just to knock them down.
What was that Nickelodeon logo slime that was all over the floor?
I don't know.
Orange ooze.
I actually don't know what that was.
It totally just looks like that. Like, yeah, you just write the word Nickelodeon in there, and then you have a cable channel.
These guys got gacked.
They got gack.
Oh God. Okay. I like playing as Hilda. What's up with all this ooze on the ground? What?
I don't know.
So, I mean, that's generally like the flow of all of these missions, Jeff. It's seize the strongholds. Oh no, everything back here is bad. Go fix it.
Not a problem.
Like, all right,
yeah,
you
so
go
it's like
there.
pushing forward, like shoring up your defenses, pushing forward, then falling back to shore up your defenses until you basically make that final push.
Pretty much. Occasionally it will involve like, all right, you gotta go back here because stuff got bad over here because your own AI is terrible.
Right.
And so far, maybe because I have this on normal and I am still fairly early into it, that the rock, paper, scissors aspect hasn't mattered too much.
Yeah.
Like here, we're not as effective against this enemy because we're an axe class versus a sword. But we're not struggling that much.
Right. It's like the difference between it taking, 2 minutes instead of 30 seconds. Like that's the big change. And I mean, you're still through that time. You're still just doing the same actions.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel strategic in the way Fire Emblem is supposed to. Whatever. It just in the way that it's like very exciting when like you come up with a strategy in Fire Emblem that works. That's the whole game. And here it's like the whole game is still just musou, pushing light attack, heavy attack in certain orders. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the strategy is and can still be there, but you can kind of brute force your way.
Right. Exactly.
All right, come on, let's get this base captain. There's a lot of pickups through all these pots. Oh, look, we just got a bunch of money.
Yeah. That looked like a casino game. Money all over the screen.
Oh, don't tempt me with a good time. Let's switch out to someone else. Let's see what else is going on. You know what? You guard Hilda.
Cloud.
And then, okay, here we go. Back to the player character. So you're still upgrading different class levels. So the more as you're playing a specific class, you're leveling them up.
Right.
That'll lead to a different tree and everything.
Right, they evolve like Pokemon, right? They can
Yes.
get their next job type or whatever it is.
Yes. Oh, this
Okay.
base cap is not...
I like that concept just in general, and I would like it in this game as well. Because I mean, I like it in Fire Emblem. I would like it here. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to move this character in this direction. So here's a similar character. I can move them in a different part of this tree.
Totally. I'm actually
Maximizing that stuff is very satisfying.
I'm actually really curious as to how the auto battle comes off, if
Yeah.
how successful it is, because I could almost see this being a fun for me at least, just being kind of like a strategy sim or like a management type of
Right.
deal of like, oh, this character's not doing too hot. How can we optimize them, and etc.
Right.
So I guess I'm trying to play as little of the musou element as possible.
I'm glad that like that we are getting like more Fire Emblem stuff, but there was like when this game was kind of getting announced, there was this reaction. Again, this doesn't help that there's so many Fire Emblem characters in Smash Brothers. Like,
Right.
maybe we're getting too many Fire Emblem things, and at the expense of stuff like, why don't we get an F-Zero instead of like 50 Fire Emblem things? It doesn't work that way. These are different teams.
Right.
This game here is just made by Koei Tecmo, a separate team entirely from Nintendo.
Totally.
But like I guess my question here for you, Jan, is are you okay with like the direction Nintendo's taking with like how many Fire Emblem games we're getting? Like, we were getting stuff like this, every couple of years for a while going forward. Would you eventually start having diminishing returns with your fandom for Fire Emblem?
You know, I feel like eventually you would reach diminishing returns, especially with how often a new Smash character is announced, or a Fire Emblem character is announced for Smash. And I know that they have like the mobile games that are Fire Emblem, rather than like a proper sequel or like a remaster of any of the games. I feel like they're treading dangerously close to too much Fire Emblem, but not even the proper Fire Emblem that people want. Okay, so now that we've seized enough of the strongholds here, like the bigger ones,
Right. Yeah, I can see the map looks mostly blue.
a different objective has arisen, and now we have to take out this one thief to complete the mission here. So that's the kind of neat thing, which I guess is not unique, but a standard of the Warriors games where you'll have dynamic objectives popping off here and there. Let's go seize this base. Cool, that's done.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, now let's go find this thief and beat him up. I may not know if this is an actual feature, but I wish fast traveling was a thing in these maps. This is a smaller map in comparison to some of the missions you'll get, because you'll have one that kind of fills up this whole screen. And not that it can get overwhelming to manage everything, but it can get overwhelming or monotonous to travel back and forth on the map and stuff.
Is there anything where you can like call in a mount and like ride? I mean, obviously some of your characters are just like mounted on like Wyvern or whatever, but could you like call in a horse and get quickly across the map that way, or is it just like, no, your character doesn't use horses?
I believe it is all tied into let's attack everyone. Character-wise, yeah.
Okay.
Hilda was one of my favorites in Three Houses
Sure, yeah.
because she carried a big axe. That was great. It's still kind of hilarious that these are a bunch of. This is post time skip in Three Houses. So,
so they're a little bit older, yeah.
They're a little bit older, but it's still kind of hilarious that it's just a bunch of children fighting this war. And then now that I said that out loud, that's not hilarious.
Listen, that's the, movies and games here to tell us that war destroys youth. I mean, listen, what do you think Starship Troopers is about? All these beautiful people that get destroyed by war and then lose their innocence and stuff. It's a common theme. They gotta tell us it over and over again, so it really gets drilled into our head.
That's right. It was in Star Wars. Luke was just a farmer boy.
Yeah, it was just a farmer boy, and then by the end, he's got a robot hand, and he's wearing all black. He's emo. Like, that's a lot of lost innocence there. You mentioned there's co-op. Like, that is not online co-op, is it?
No, I believe it is all only local console.
Split screen.
Split screen.
Right?
And
would this game be better if it was like 4-player online co-op?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the problem with that is tying progress to the campaign and everything, because I would assume people would be locked as certain characters. Someone would have to play the protagonist, Shez. Shez is a fun name. I like the name Shez.
Good name, absolutely.
Reminds
Powerful
me of
name.
like a chair.
Yeah, it is definitely like one of the things you find in the back of an IKEA.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, right. Okay. Yes. So here, as our characters are progressing, they are upgrading their different respective classes and everything. We're also finding different equipment as we are killing hundreds of people here.
Is there weapon degradation?
Degradation? I don't believe so. You just wind up. Sorry, I had to burp there. You just wind up.
Who doesn't? I was burping too. I was muted and I was doing it too.
You wind up having to upgrade different weapons as you go along, just with different smithing stones and whatnot, similar to Three Houses. Oh boy, there's a lot of story and stuff that's about to pop off. Let's see if it's a bunch of actual cinematics.
2 years ago, I never would have imagined we'd be fighting a war like this.
Me too, homegirl.
So are there like CG things, and then there's like, is this how most of the story's being told?
Most of the story is being told like this. Not everything is voice acted.
How do you mean?
The small interactions in between missions, like on your base camp, those aren't voice acted, but these...
That's similar to how Fire Emblem proper works, right? I think that's right.
Yeah. Arvel is the spirit that is inhabiting our body that kind of lets us go Super Saiyan.
Sure.
And then, similar to Three Houses, sometimes these different dialogue options will matter and affect your existing relationship with people.
Right. Mercenaries. Yeah, good point.
Gerald. Familiar name there.
Then you can give them their just desserts or die trying.
Could have done without that last part.
How many like pastry places do you think are called just desserts?
Relax.
Oh, not
Everyone
enough.
on your side.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Destinies
I feel
are
like Just
forever
Desserts should have been like a
intertwined.
nationwide chain.
Yes.
Do we have an understanding then?
I understand your request.
The cool thing is you are meeting a bunch of side characters that pretty much just get named once or twice in Three Houses. So like we meet family members. Those relationships get
interesting.
explored. Like this is one of our characters' dad. Their dad that I don't
Right.
remember meeting them, at least.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I'm like, this guy's got a good look, a good vibe. Count Gloucester.
Everything okay, Claude?
I'm into it. It's yeah, and I don't remember him from Three Houses.
I
On the
feel
contrary, our conversation couldn't
I
have
still
been
feel
more pleasant.
bad
Count
that the
Gloucester
parts
is
of the
always
game
ever
that are
right.
intriguing me the most are not the actual game.
Note that I am not laughing.
Like
Yeah, I mean, what can you do about that? Like, it's that's why they made this game. It's like to like win you over with the stuff you like. It's working, right?
yeah, and it's working, and I'm scared that I'm gonna devote too much time. I might try more of the auto battle stuff and try that out to
Yeah.
see how that winds up shaking out.
Just what the Lords should do
And maybe
in
I'll
a
just
monthly
knock the
event if
difficulty
Imperial
down to
Army
like
crosses
the
Alliance
casual
territory.
for story's sake. Because as it is right now, I am kind of intrigued by the story and how it
With a
ties
whole lot of
into
words,
Three
but not a lot of
Houses
clarity.
and the implications for everything. Like, is certain characters gonna die? Are we gonna meet other
Lawrence,
people?
let me ask you something.
What happens
Would you
here?
go along with
Like
his
the
decision
twists
so
in
heavily?
Three Houses, does that completely
What
factor
exactly do you
into
mean?
Three Hopes here?
Say,
Right.
for example,
What if Dimitri's eye? What if he loses both eyes?
What? Yes, right.
would you follow suit?
Comes what was that? The blind kung fu
Ghost is
guy,
going to betray
Ip Man.
Of
Can't
course
remember.
not.
Well then.
Yeah. Listen, I love many of these characters. I want to. I do want to spend more time with them. Absolutely. But I only played through one path of 3 houses.
Same.
Would I be better served going back and playing another path of 3 houses or picking this up? Do you think?
Oh gosh, I think it's ultimately going to depend on whether or not you have enough patience for like the musou formula,
Right.
which is a fun word to say.
The patience for the musou formula.
Yes, the second formula that Einstein came up with, not
Yes,
as popular
absolutely.
as the
No,
theory of
yeah.
relativity and stuff. I think if you want more story with the familiar characters of the house you may have played through, if you had done a single playthrough, because
that's a good
I was the
point.
same, Grubb. Like I only ever played through the deer house, and I wasn't really inclined to check out the blue lions or the black eagles. I just really like the golden deer. And I'm kind of having fun just seeing my old friends again and just doing stuff with them.
That makes sense.
That I don't really want to go back to 3 houses to check out Dimitri or what's her face's story. That I kind of want to hang out with these hooligans again. And that I hate it. I hate it that I want to see what they're up to. Let's just dip back into the camp here.
Yeah.
Got a sec?
So yeah, all of your people, thankfully, at least in the base camp, and I believe this was in 3 houses, you can just fast travel to like the different key points.
These major points, yeah.
Also the different units, your different friends, different locations and whatnot. So that helps that out and everything. But that is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, out now on the Nintendo Switch. Full $60, which is the other thing that I haven't mentioned.
Hey, there's a demo.
There's a
There's a free demo.
There's
Maybe
a free
play
demo.
that.
If you wind up getting really, really attached to your specific house that you played through with Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and you really want to see more story with those your specific hooligans, I could maybe recommend this.
That sounds right to me.
So far as like the actual Warriors musou aspect, I'm not digging it. I kind of wish this took a page from Persona 5 Strikers, because that was kind of a mix of not necessarily an open game, but it was a mix of musou and turn-based, because you'd wind up falling into encounters versus fighting hordes of enemies.
Right, like maybe they could make it like a strategy game where you are still controlling units on a grid, and then maybe some key battles play out as musou fights or something like that.
Yeah.
Within the I don't know. I'm not a game designer. I don't need to do the what if, but like I get what you mean. Like there's better ways to integrate this instead of just doing the what can maybe feel negative connotations or whatever, feel like a palette swap.
Yeah.
Not that I think this is just like easy work or anything like that, but it could just feel that way in my perception.
I also think this game is they know what they're doing by giving you a first-person mode, by just being able to stare at your people.
So can you marry anybody? Can you get married in this game? The romance options?
I don't believe you can go all the way. I think you can just get to like holding hands.
No home runs. Right?
No home runs.
Just second base, first base, whatever.
We'll talk about the discourse of the bases and how that has changed.
Yeah, you can let me know. No,
evolved.
I when I was like maybe 10 or 11, I asked my older brother, "What do the bases mean?" He just would not answer. He's like, "You're an idiot." I'm like, "Okay." I was dead serious. I needed to know.
I still don't know, to be honest.
No, I'm like, honestly, I just made some stuff up. I don't know anymore.
But that is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Thank you, Jeff Grubb. I'll musou you later.
Janicho.
That wasn't even a joke. That's just
We're
terrible.
moose out of here.
Oh, there we go.
It's spelled that way, but it doesn't sound that way. So that didn't work either.
We're getting moose out. Chocolate mousse. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jen.